Hello everyone and welcome to Zach's Garage. Today you join me for a very special episode in Geneva where this is being released, the all-new Koenigsegg. Now as you guys know, my channel very much features Koenigsegg, so this is something eagerly anticipated by myself and probably all of you. Now as you can tell by the title, that is the new name. I don't actually know it yet, but well, none of us do because it's not what we thought it was. So I'm just going to skip to the point where this thing gets revealed. So without further ado, the all-new Koenigsegg. So, the new Koenigsegg Jesko, named amazingly after Christian von Koenigsegg's dad. I think that's a fantastic tribute, being the 25th anniversary of Koenigsegg. What better way to celebrate it? Now, what does the car feature? Well, it's a full new redesign of Koenigsegg. It's the more GT based, but with unbelievable, and I cannot emphasize the performance of this car. Now, I'm going to give you some more details of the car a little later on, but first of all let's talk about the design. So we have this humongous front splitter with quite a cool green stripe, but that's just spec. We've got more aero similar to the aero pack on the Regera that I think some of you may have seen. We've got the new design of wing mirror. There's quite cool air blade just down the side here, and the door button is actually underneath the air blade. Now it's got the same system as the Regera in which you can have on the button, you can open the door, the front bumper and the rear. The wheels, they're a new design of wheel. Even though they're the biggest, they're one of their lightest. And it's just remarkable. Every single aspect of this car is, well, either world famous or revolutionary and new. The rear wing, the top mounted adjustable rear wing, something Koenigsegg's famous for, but this is believed to be the world's largest top mounted rear wing that is hydraulically actuated. The new Koenigsegg exhaust, there's a new design of exhaust. The fact that it's got the floating badge and this really cool brake-like system. I just think that Koenigsegg have got it right once again. I think all of you would agree. Let me know your thoughts down below of the car, because I think, well, it's just something special. It's something always people will remember by, and well, we're forgetting the interior. How could we? So I think it's probably about time we head inside of it. Okay, so stepping into the new Jesko. So, with the door shutting, we now have some alone time with the brand new Koenigsegg. It's not something a lot of people can say. So, we literally have the cabin to ourselves. So, the new screen, that features something very cool. So, it's attached to the steering wheel, but as you can see, if I turn the wheel, that turns as well. Now, so what that means is, it means when you're cornering, you just have to look down here and you can see it. The steering wheel also features full haptic control, so instead of the conventional buttons, you have sensitive screen, which means the harder you press it, the more feedback you get. Now, I know a lot of people are asking, does it have a gearbox? Yes, it does. So the up paddle is the same as the normal, and the down paddle is as well. The only difference being this has 9 gears. Now, there's been a lot of photos of this being the gearbox, gear lever if you will. So the gear lever, what is it for? Well, if you're in 9th gear for instance and you're on the motorway doing 70 and you want to go down to like 3rd gear and give it a proper hard beasting, what you can do, you can actually select it by pulling it back or pulling it forward so that the gear selects and just boot it and well, you're off. So also, what other things are there? The roof latches have changed. They're actually screws, so it's not easy to do, but the only reason for that is because the roof can't be stored in the front, because it's very similar to the one-to-one. Also, the green ball in the front is something very old school. That is actually an original geometer, if that's the word. So what that is for is to measure the G forces. So the harder you boot it, the further the ball goes back, and the further the ball goes back shows you how many G's you're experiencing. Now just down here as well, we've got the shield holder, which is actually the key, which is something very cool, and just in there you can see there is a button, and that's to open the door. We won't do that quite yet because we've still got some alone time with the car, but As you can see here, it's got very similar to vents as the Regera. That's all over, but I mean, as you guys can see, something pretty mega. You've also got this interior controls unit, so you've got media here, and you can select it all, and you can connect a device, obviously, which we won't do now. But something that's just absolutely mad. You've got engine start, which we won't do now because that would probably get us in trouble. You've got the window controls for either side. A little sign saying Jesko, obviously named after Christian von Koenigsegg's father, which I think pays brilliant tribute on the 20th anniversary. And a fantastic new sound system powered by Koenigsegg, or sounded by Koenigsegg, with a really cool design on the outside. I think it gives it a really rather interesting look. So overall, what would I think of the interior of the car? Well, obviously it's a Koenigsegg, it's fantastic, but I think there's so many new features on it, and the way they've done this as well, just brilliant. And when you move the steering wheel, you can hear all the electrics go. I mean, look how clever that is. I mean, Christian's definitely done it again.
So, I mean, the main inspiration for the Jesko was the Agera RS. I mean, we stopped producing that almost a year ago. And of course, before then we knew it would run out. So we had to come up with a new car model, as we want to be a 2-car model company. And maybe eventually 3, what it looks like now, but at least 2. And we only had the Regera then, and which is our more GT-esque friendly monster.
Yes, absolutely. No, absolutely.
While the Agera RS is a bit more visceral, track focused, raw, a little bit louder.
Yeah, a little bit more
out there.
Punchy, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Agera and the Agera RS was really the inspiration. But then, of course, we have a lot of lessons learned. So we could utilize some technology from the Regera, like the active rubber-mounted rear end engine suspension, which we did not have in the Agera. And given that we now suspended the engine, we could go a little bit more crazy with that and create a little bit more vibrations than before, and allow that by putting in a 180-degree crankshaft to make the engine lighter and even more responsive. This brings you 40 horsepower without adding the stress of the engine, just because of improved exhaust pulsing and stuff like that. And with the rubberized engine mount, we can take that extra vibration. We needed to basically come up with a new kind of transmission to take this new power level, but also we wanted the car to be an all-eating kind of car, that you have very short, nice gears on the racetrack, but enough gears for maximum top speed records, kind of. So we invented this new 9-speed gearbox, which also became very lightweight and compact and extremely smooth and fast shifting. But apart, let's say, from the Agera RS as inspiration, I think it's, I don't know, which other cars? The 1-to-1, of course.
Of course, yeah.
But if we're talking outside of Koenigsegg, I think still today the pinnacle of minimalism is probably the McLaren F1. Just boil it down to the core. We have done that here, but then we add a few things, like you have a sound system, you have the body robotization, because it is so cool and helpful, and it only weighs 5 kilos. So we have some creature comforts, but beyond that, it's really boiled down to the core. We have rear wheel steering now, because the monocoque is a little bit longer and taller, and we stretch the wheelbase a little bit. So with rear wheel steering, we can have really good around town usability, but also, given the tremendous high speed, whatever we can do to increase high speed stability, even though it was amazing on the Agera RS, even better, doesn't hurt.
So there's no such thing as too slow.
Exactly. So you really want to slow steering at those speeds. So I think, and the way it looks, I think it's still, if we wouldn't have any badges on it, I think most people would guess Koenigsegg. It's still very, very, very clearly a Koenigsegg. But at the same time, all the surfaces are new, all the shut lines are new, all the volumes are new, all the aerodynamics is new. Even the window area, and the side windows and back windows are new. They are a little bit bigger and taller and so on, but it's hidden very well by the slightly longer wheelbase and the slightly larger wheels. So it actually doesn't look bigger.
No, yeah, it's very true. And so one thing, could you tell us a little bit about the wheels? Because those when you're talking about the press conference, I found it intriguing to hear all the information on it.
Exactly. So this is our third generation in-house hollow core carbon fiber wheels with no metal inserts. We invented this type of wheel 10 years ago for the Agera R. And back then no one made carbon fiber wheels, but we did. Yeah. And we have the industry from other car brands come and say, you can't do this, doesn't work, it makes us look bad when you're trying to say this works. We have thrashed these wheels around racetracks, around Nürburgring, in tire wheel simulators. They're the strongest wheels we've ever had and ever made. And what we've learned over the years is how do we make them lighter and lighter and lighter. So even though these are 20 and 21 inch wheels instead of 19 and 20 like before, they're still lighter. So the front wheels weigh 5.9 kilos as 20 inch, 10 inch wide. The rear 12.5 inch wide, 21 inch tall, weighs 7.4 kilos.
And so with that weighing so little and making the wheel bigger, have you had to reduce any of the structural rigidity of the wheel, or is it still as strong?
No, it's as strong. It has to do with enabling pre-preg epoxy carbon fiber that we use to reduce the epoxy amount and the shape of the wheel and the spokes, and also the next generation carbon fibers.
Fantastic. And so one final question for you: what does the car mean to you, to you personally?
Well, I'm starting to get into this kind of territory of I have to pinch myself. How did we get to this point? Absolutely. How can our small company do this kind of car? How can it look this good, work this well, be this fast, and so many. Okay, what I just said, of course, it makes it sound desirable, but on top of that, having so many people wanting it.
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, you look at other car companies, and the founders, I find they sort of assume, oh, we know our car looks good. The fact that you can look at the CC8 and now look at where you are now, and as you just said, you pinch yourself. I think it's fantastic to hear as the owner of the company, and the way the company's formed as such a family. You know, everyone knows each other, and I think it just shows how much it's progressed. But
it's such a nice mix, you know, owners, dealers, customers, mechanics, technicians, software programmers, CEOs. We all mix together and talk on every level. Like there is no hierarchy.
Absolutely.
And we talk about cars, and we talk about what's good, what's bad, and how to make them more interesting and better.
Absolutely.
And I think it's just amazing.
It's direct customer feedback, isn't
exactly.
it?
Exactly.
So thank you so much, Christian.
Thank you so much, Zach.
And so I'll catch you guys later. Okay, so we're now on the Bugatti stand, and they've just announced this, the La Voiture Noire, or the black car, translated into English roughly, I believe. You guys have probably already corrected me in the comments. But this is, well, it's the most expensive new car ever produced, with the price tag of, I believe, near $20 million. So based on the 67 SC Atlantic, or pays homage to the 67 SC Atlantic, it's a truly special car. Now obviously the guts of it come from the Chiron, which is actually over there. Then we also have a Devo over there, but we'll get to that in a second. The length of the car is completely different, and obviously the bodywork, as you can see, is completely different. It's got the chrome stripe on the top, which pays homage. Obviously the whole car pays homage. And the back has, I think, 6 exhausts, if I counted right. I might not, it keeps going around in circles. The wheels are obviously different. There's not too many specs on the car, as it's a one of one. It's the only one in the world. But one thing is for sure, it is absolutely bonkers. If we look at the front window, the front lights, sorry, I mean, you can just see how ludicrous they are. Now, whether this car will be road legal or not, who knows? But, well, it just looks so cool. So, as you guys have probably seen in the media, the Bugatti Devo, based on the Chiron, like everything else here, apart from the actual Chiron, which is the Chiron. The Devo is a more track-focused car, lightly based upon the Vision GT, with some pretty crazy features. It's got these mad brake lights, it's got the different styled, well, the whole body's different style, but the different style exhaust, new wing, the rear of it's got that quite cool lip in the middle. But what I'm noticing is there's not many Devo badges. I mean, there's one there, but apart from that, there's more Michelin badges than there are Devo on it. So That's something a bit odd, but obviously we've got the new lights, the new front end. You can see some contrasting between the two cars, but there is definitely a new design to the car. Now these were silly money. I think I may be wrong. They're saying these were about 10 million. Whether that was dollars, euros or pounds, who knows, but still, it's a very cool car. Fun enough, last night I was out in a Chiron going to get chicken, as some of you may have seen on my Instagram, so I can certify these are very cool cars. So, on to the next Bugatti. One of the three Bugattis here is the 110 ANS. So I believe, only because I don't know too much about this, this was a celebratory car for 110 years of Bugatti. So it's actually a very cool car. It's sort of like this dark bluey matte carbon, and then you have the French stickers all over the car. And if we head to the back of the car, you will see something very cool indeed. So, the back of the car, when the spoiler is up, you have the French flag flying, which I think is very cool. So, overall, it's actually a very good way of paying homage to, well, 110 years. It's very impressive. And also, inside you can see the badges everywhere on the seats, and it's got a unique interior. But for now, we're done at the Bugatti stand, we've done the Koenigsegg stand, so now I think it's probably time for a bit of Pagani and maybe a bit of Ferrari to talk about the, well, to put it bluntly, the very controversial F8. So, I'll see you there. So, we will eventually get to the other stands, but right now, Pagani. So, we have the Wyra Roadster here, finished in like this really cool matte blue. I think matte blue seems to be a trend. It was the same on the Devo, and but yeah, very cool indeed. If we just step onto the turning circle, which seems to be going overly fast, you can have a little look into the interior. Very simple colour, but actually it gives it a really cool look. I like the white on the interior just there. It sort of highlights the look of it, and obviously because it's a convertible, well, no roof, so yeah, wind in your hair. So right next to the Wyra there is a C12S. Now this is one of the old school Zondas, one of the very first, and I think it's quite cool for Pagani to bring, well, their newest, which is over there, and the C12, which is, well, their first, and you can see how basic it really was. And well, if we just have a look at the interior, one thing I find particularly impressive is the fact that even though it's so much older, the quality of the car is, well, as you can tell, it's just still impeccable. Yes, okay, it's limited for the day, but back in the day, this would have been brilliant. Okay, so is this the new F8 Tributo, or is this a facelift 488? Now, I will leave that up to you. Let me know down in the comments, but personally, I do like the car. I think it's a little bit too close to the 488 to justify a new one. As you know, we have a 488 at the moment, but what's new on it? Well, there's lots of different body features. The front end is very new. It features the same S-duct as what's on the Pista. The new wheels, they're similar to the 812. New light cluster, which it does look quite cool. It looks a little bit plain in this spec. I think it's the wrong colour for the car, but nonetheless, very cool indeed. The interior, it's, well, as you'd expect, exactly the same as the 488, bar a new steering wheel. So on that topic, let's move on to the next Ferrari. So now there are loads of Ferraris behind us, but unfortunately there's too many people to try and get around. Every time I try and film, someone pushes me out of the way. At the end of the day, the F8 Tributo, I've got a feeling it might be a bit of a 488 facelift. I'm going to be honest with you guys, it's what I do, and if Ferrari want to have a backlash at me, if they even watch this video, first of all, hello, welcome to the video. Second of all, yeah, I just think it's a little bit of a 488 facelift, but nonetheless, I'd have to drive one to see the difference. As it has the Pista engine, it's going to be quick. You know, no Ferrari is slow except the Portofino. I didn't say that, I'm only joking. But it is a cool car. It is definitely, yeah. So, on the topic of hypercars, I know I keep saying that, the Bugatti Chiron, but actually I'm not allowed to call this a Chiron, because this is a Mansory Centurnia or Centurnia. Now I know comments are already going absolutely mental because it's a Bugatti and they've destroyed it. I don't think they have. I think they've actually done something very cool. First of all, the paint is absolutely epic. I know you can get that from Bugatti if you wanted to and if you paid enough money, but personally I think it's very cool. The carbon fibre work, as Mansory is famous for, is exquisite. I mean, I think that front end, is, well, so unique in a good way. I'm being genuine here. I mean, that front splitter, the wheels are, I think the wheels have been seen on other on other Mansory cars. The interior, well, that's you know, that's unique as well. That has sparkly bits on it, sort of looks a little bit like foam. But we won't focus on the interior at the moment. I just want to talk about the exterior. So things have actually changed. The rear wing, you can see, is completely different in terms of the fact that it has more aero, so they've actually made this more aerodynamic. The rear diffuser is different as well, with the extended bits down here and the quad exhausts. And then round this side you can see here it has a very cool crest on, but yes, apparently they had to remove all of the Bugatti badges, and if we look at the Bugatti key, or the Mansory key, that also has blue diamonds all over it, so something very cool there. But your thoughts, put them down in the comments right now. I want to see them. I want to see what you think, and if they're negative, great. If they're good, equally as great. But anyway, moving on, we have the new Cullinan. Now this, I will come out and say it is epic. I love this. I would definitely have this kit. It is awesome. So extended front end, LEDs down at the bottom, different paint. This is the Billionaire edition. So the Billionaire is a clothing brand. So it's Billionaire crossed with Mansory. You can see certain bits, so you can see the Billionaire sign there, Mansory. Now the exterior is something to be, the interior, sorry, is something definitely to be desired, but the exterior is definitely cool. So you've got the carbon splitters down there, new side panels on the lower end, bigger wheels, obviously a completely new Mansory design wheel. The Billionaire badge up here, carbon small aero lip spoiler, another small aero lip spoiler, forged carbon, the Whisper of Ecstasy Billionaire edition, and then if we look at the rear end of the car, also extended rear diffuser, oh, struggling to focus, extended rear diffuser. And then if we look just around here again, the Billionaire interior is something very different. So you have, that is the Billionaire Italian Concessionaires logo. It is everywhere. I mean, when I say everywhere, I mean quite literally, absolutely every single place you could possibly have put a logo on. So yeah, something very different there indeed, and I wouldn't do the interior like this. It also has crocodile skin. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, but anyway. Mansory, Billionaire, and inside it has the Starlight headliner, but more Mansory bits at the back. If we open this up, it has the Billionaire logos all throughout as well, and then at the bottom it has Billionaire as well. Billionaire there. I'm going to stop saying Billionaire because you guys now understand that this is covered in it. But yes, the whole point of Mansory I will explain in 1 second. So now, unfortunately, someone has just switched on a megaphone, but behind me is the Chiron, and actually Mr. Mansory is just there. Now, as I just said, I want to explain to you why Mansory do these things. So now, these are the show cars. Now, the reason why they make them as extreme as they do is it gives the Mansory customers an idea of what they want. So, for example, behind me, this G-Wagon is covered in camo, it's got the extended arches, it's got that footstep down there. You can choose all these individual bits. So people come along and go, well, look, I've just bought my new G-Wagon, I want this that was on the show car, but not this that was on the show car. So it's almost like a really expensive, extravagant version of a catalogue. So welcome to their catalogue. Okay guys, so unfortunately that comes to the end of the video, but behind us is the new Koenigsegg Jesko, the star of the show. Everyone who I've spoken to has agreed it was either this or the Bugatti, and I think, well, it's got to take it. After all, it is Koenigsegg, and well, it's closest to my heart. So as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed the video. Geneva was a crazy place. To cover it all really in depth is very difficult, but I hope you've enjoyed the video. I know it's a lot of B-roll, but very exciting indeed. So as always, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and hopefully we'll take this for a drive fairly soon. See you then. Cheers.